So, you know about branding, but do you know about digital branding? What if I told you that digital branding is a whole other ballgame? If you want to learn more, catch me on the other side of this intro. Welcome to the Altitude Lounge. Hey guys, I am Charmian-Marie business coach and communication consultant, and what I do is help my clients to lay a solid business foundation and show up digitally in a consistent and confident way so that they can increase their sales, right? So today we're going to be talking about branding. We're going to be talking about branding in the digital space, because digitally branding yourself, branding your business, all of that, it's a whole other ball game, right? And here's why I say it, right? Our reality is that, it's fine to think about the idea of a brand identity. So that's your colors, your fonts, and all of that pretty stuff, the photos that you take and all of that. It's also great to think about your brand core, because your brand core is what guides you and all of that, right? And then your brand journey, generally, you have to think about your brand affiliations and all of that. So, okay, great. So I'm happy that you finally, you have laid that brand foundation. And if you haven't, you can actually check out one of my previous videos right after this one, which breaks down the steps of building out your overall brand, right? But digital branding requires a bit more once you've laid that foundation, right? So there are three things that digital branding really requires for you to really up your game and make sure that you stay up there, right? So the first thing that we're gonna say is that digital branding requires cohesiveness. Now, when I say cohesiveness, I'm talking about making sure that there's a level of uniformity that is available where your brand is concerned, which means, so if you happen to be on like 5 different platforms, say it's your website, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, so that's 5, right? Is your brand identity, as well as your brand core, as well as your brand journey overall, being effectively showcased on all of those platforms in the same way? Meaning, if people jump on your Instagram and they see the pretty colors, then they see how you speak, they see how you show up there, and you're showing up with all your personality. Is it that after they jump from your Instagram and go on your website, they get the very same vibe from there? Do they get the same vibe from TikTok? Do they get the same vibe from Twitter? And it might sound like I'm making the most out of nothing, but guess what? People actually look into that, because the time that you take to actually make sure that your brand is cohesive on these multiple platforms means that you are taking your brand seriously, and people can actually feel more inspired to make an investment in your business because of that, right? So I really want to encourage you to do your very best to be more cohesive and make sure that your elements are nicely lined up. I'm not saying that this, doesn't take time. It takes time. But, when you spend the time and get that in place, you'll definitely feel better, about your brand, and you'll definitely see your work come to fruition, and people will see it too, and they'll definitely be, more inspired to do business with you. So the second one that I'll definitely say is authenticity, right? So it's one thing to nicely, lay out your brand, have these nice designs and all of these things. But especially, I find that especially in the last like 5 to 10 years, we've consistently gotten more interested in reality, right? And a more lifestyle approach to branding, and a more lifestyle approach to, just getting to know people, right? So you find that a lot of corporate entities are also recognizing that. And so you find that they're less stoic, they're less, rigid in terms of even their communication and how they put their imaging out there and all of that. They want to make sure that you feel like you can journey with them. They want to make sure that you feel like they are your partners for life, versus, this company that you just interact with, So it's important for you to be brave enough to recognize that your brand needs to embody a whole personality in itself, because that personality is what interacts with your clients on your behalf, especially if you are not necessarily a solopreneur and you are more a small business owner, or even if you're a solopreneur, you recognize that, you know, your brand, people need to feel pulled in. People need to feel like they can communicate with you because, yeah, you are your brand, you know? So don't be afraid to show up authentically. Don't be afraid to show up as you, as a human, and recognize that, you know, people feel good when they know who they are journeying with. People feel good when they recognize that you are human too. You have your own vices, you have your own struggles, but you are still thriving. You are still showing up and doing your very best for your business and all of that, right? So don't count those things out when you're trying to build an authentic brand. That actually helps you to sell more and to really show up more confidently, eventually, you know, when you get more confident in front of the camera and all of that. You know, I do know that it's a journey and it's a mindset thing too, I get it, but, you know, don't count it out at all, right? Because it definitely helps to add, especially, and I always tell this to my client, this helps to add to your unique selling point. You know, there's only one you in the world, so don't count that out. That make that be the thing that helps to set your brand apart, especially in this very loud digital space, right? And the final thing I'll say is consistency. Now, it's one thing again to develop your design. It's one thing to develop your website, which is so boss. It's one thing to be on multiple platforms, have your email marketing and all of these things, right? But if it is that you send out an email or a post one day and then people don't hear back from you till 3 months down the line, do you think you're gonna stay top of mind? No. And it's important for you to recognize that. It's important for you to recognize that in the same way that you as an individual, you consistently show up as a person, right? It's the same way that people need to know that you will be showing up consistently, because if they don't feel that you will be there when they need you, if they don't feel that you are taking your brand and business seriously enough to show up in the space, and I'm not saying this means that you must post 5 times a day, 3 times a day. I'm not even saying 10 times a week. I'm not saying all of that. But if it is that you can't show up weekly with even 3 posts per week, then I am actually concerned, you know, in terms of where you are at in your business. Granted, there are some persons, especially 6 and 7 figure business owners, who, you know, find that it's easier to work on referral or work with the clients they already have and stuff. So you see that those persons show up a little less, but fine, that's 6 and 7 figure business owners. It is what it is, you know. But especially if you are in that building phase and you want to build your community and you want to build that know, like, and trust factor, you need to be showing up in a way that allows persons to feel that they know, you know, they see a pattern, they know that you're showing up consistently and all of that, right? So with that said, guys, you know, online branding, it takes branding to a whole new level. And that's why you find that there are a lot of online business owners who end up being a lot more successful than, you know, regular businesses, because online branding allows for more of an intimate kind of journey. And that more intimate kind of journey allows people to feel like they're reaching you more, you know, and connecting with you more. And connection is actually what influences some of the higher level investments, and those higher level investments are the ones you want, right? So with that said, make sure that when you're trying to step up your level of your digital branding overall, you are stepping up in terms of cohesiveness, authenticity, and content. You're stepping up in terms of authenticity, cohesiveness, and consistency. All right, guys, so I'm hoping that you learned something in this video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them below. I will definitely answer you. All right, so until next time, I'm looking forward to seeing you. All right, guys, take care. The Altitude Lounge.